So here's some additional stuff to talk about. Number one, I have officially outlived Vice Media, which is kind of crazy because I was at the Young Turks when Vice Media was sold to Rupert Murdoch for a whopping, like, I think it was the valuation originally was like $1 billion. At the time, I thought, oh my God, like, this is such a fucking ridiculous expense. Stop adding Vice. Stop saying smoking on that Vice pack. A lot of wonderful people work there, okay? I know a lot of people that work there. There were some sick people that worked there. Sure, did some of them write about how, maybe Saudi needs to do worse stuff in Yemen? Yes. Okay. But, like, ultimately, a group of Vice lenders set to purchase the embattled company's assets for $225 million and take on significant liabilities listed at $500 million to $1 billion, according to a filing in the New York Times federal court. I was there. I know a secret. What is that? The secret is that Shane Smith made out like a fucking bandit, dude. Fuck all those journalists, Vice the fucking CIA op. No, just like every other journalism outlet, there's like good journalists and shitty ones. Oh. I was there when Vice was originally sold to Rupert Murdoch, okay? I think it was like, what, 5% for a couple $100 million? Here it is. This is when I first started. This is literally when I first started at the Young Turks. Rupert Murdoch firm dips into hipster's Bible with $70 million stake in Vice. 5% stake sold to Rupert Murdoch's 21st Century Fox, allowing it to expand into Europe and India. Then, after that, they hyped it up like crazy. They hyped it up like fucking crazy. These guys that basically made, documentaries about doing crocodile in Russia and shit like that, got a $70 million, sold 5% for $70 million. It bumped their valuation up dramatically. Okay? It made them more expensive than the New York Times. And for years and years and years, they basically kept that hype going because this is how it always works. You get a larger buyer to tap in, and then they have to stay. Their reputation is on the line as well, so they have to legitimize. They have to legitimize your existence. And that's precisely what they did. Back then, I was doing advertisement sales and operations. So obviously, like, I was paying close attention to this stuff. I was seeing their advice, product being marketed at every one of these fucking seminars that I had to go to. And yeah, we all watched Succession. What? The fuck? I'm talking about the real life experiences that I had at the time. When I was doing ad ops. Vice threw a keg W and then a aware. Damn, Vice. Anyway, yes, Succession is good TV because it takes a lot from the real world, and this is the real world example of what Succession was doing. My point is, Rupert Murdoch bought this at the time. We in the media, in the digital space, thought that this was a ridiculous number. Like, we couldn't imagine it. And I was very jealous at the time, too, because Vice was so cool, and the Young Turks was not. And the Young Turks remained not cool, obviously. But at the time, I was very jealous that they were getting so much recognition. Okay? So much fucking recognition. I despised Shane Smith because I thought he was a charlatan and a grifter. So much shade law. Yeah, I mean, so you saw it coming, so much shade law? Of course I saw it coming. This has been propped up by Rupert Murdoch. Vice's valuation and Vice's bona fides have been propped up by Rupert Murdoch for the past 10 years, man. It was a decade-long con. They bought into it because they were dumb and they thought this would make them cool and hip and expand their digital properties. Then they realized, oh my God, an entire brand that's like reliant on looking cool and being cool is not always going to be cool, especially if they are under the 21st Century Fox umbrella. You can't be an edgy, cool media company if you're valued at $1 billion after Rupert Murdoch bought a $70 million stake. And that's precisely what happened. They were at the forefront of the Williamsburg hipster movement. And the only guy that won in this entire thing was Shane Smith. He exited, I think it was after the Disney acquisition too, because Disney also pumped a shitload into Vice, right? So many other brands tapped in and offered so much money to Vice. In 2019, Disney had put more than $400 million into Vice Media. Now it says that investment is worthless. A now familiar story. Investors say they overhauled a high-flying digital publisher. The amount of money that these fucking idiots in the corporate world give to a company that it presents itself as cool and as what the youth are listening to and the youth are looking at is unimaginable. Okay? Vice is still worth something in some investors' eyes. Last week, a group of lenders said they put a fresh round of $250 million into the company. But Disney's accounting decision is yet another example, perhaps the most stunning one, of the turnabout we've seen in digital media over the last few years. I basically came to exist in the digital space at a time when all of these legacy publishers were desperate to revitalize their brand and completely oblivious to how the digital world worked. Disney also made a similar idiotic, unwise investment into Maker, a MCN that no longer exists, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know. Does it still exist? Maker was literally across the street from me. I know a lot of people that work there. Maker as a multi-channel network was created by a bunch of YouTubers. Basically, all that happened in this circumstance. Mike was another one. Mike, which raised more than $60 million, sold for less than $5 million last year. I remember going into Mike's office on one World Trade Center and thinking, wow, these guys sure spent a lot of fucking money on dumbass shit. Mashable, which was valued at about $250 million in 2016, sold for less than $50 million in 2017. Properties formerly known as Gawker Media plus The Onion and other sites just sold for a price likely well below $50 million. Univision, the TV conglomerate which sold them off, had paid $135 million for the Gawker sites alone in 2016. The only reason why I pre-watched that shit back then is because I was in the industry and I knew that there was no way that they were making money. And yet these guys were buying into it because they thought it would revitalize their brand and probably improve their digital media assets, which it didn't. It fucking didn't. Of course it didn't. BuzzFeed is another prime example of this as well. Every single media company that has been that started off, that fucking fell into a disastrous amount of nothingness, started off with like a lot of people who were doughy-eyed and thought that they were going to make a revolutionary change in the digital sphere, realized that they can't keep up with the capitalist demands for output, sold it off and made out like a fucking bandit. Okay? They did. They sold it and they made out like fucking bandits. Shane Smith being one and all the other like owners of Maker at the time being others. Okay? Because instead, Facebook and Google have hoovered up the majority of digital ad revenue, the money new publishers expected to get once they reach scale. And publishers that had expected Facebook and Google to rely on them for content have learned that Facebook and Google don't really need them after all. That's a big part of the reason. Because, yes, Facebook and Google don't give a fuck. They don't need you. Everyone has to use them. So we need them because they're a monopoly. Here are the Disney and Vice particulars. Disney told investors Wednesday it wiped out $353 million of the money it had previously put into Vice. That followed an announcement last fall that Disney had knocked down the value of its Vice investment by $157 million. Disney describes the $353 million impairment charge it took on Vice as a write-off, which in accounting speak means there's nothing left to get rid of it after this. It's all gone. In any case, Vice is certainly worth much less than Disney and many other big sophisticated media companies thought quite recently. And I remember people were literally talking about how like Vice is better and bigger than New York Times. You know what I mean? Yeah, where are those people now? What happened? Vice, a beleaguered avatar of new media, hangs a for sale sign. This was back in January 20th, 2023. After Vice Media secured a new round of financing in 2017 that valued the company at $5.7 billion, Shane Smith, one of his founders, teased the potential for hockey stick growth and sexy stock market debut. But that once grandiose talk at Vice has run into reality. The company, which has undergone several rounds of staff cuts in recent years, is putting itself up for sale in a rocky media market. Nancy Dubik, the chief executive hired in 2018 to replace Mr. Schiff after a reckoning over workplace sexual harassment, said that the company had turned a corner and that she and the company's investors had decided to sell the company that could help it grow. We tend to be a little bit more public than most because of the curiosities and palace intrigue, but I'm going to get a job done and we have a job to do and I intend to do it. Yeah. It started off as a government-funded punk magazine in Canada, by the way, for the record. I think through like... what was it like? What is its ties to like Nigeria? It's in Canada, but I'm pretty sure it was like originally like a Nigerian tourism magazine or something in Canada. No, literally, they were a government funded like through the arts or through tourism. Gavin McGinnis was one of the founders alongside Shane Smith. It was a magazine about Montreal street scenes. No, before then. Like its origination, I think, was like, well, it was also free. Yeah, it was a Zine. It was a free Zine. I remember because I used to be like I mean, look, I used to be a fan of Vice. And anyway, before it was known as Vice, for the record, it was a zine, whatever. But yeah, it was free because it was funded by here. Founded in 1993 in Montreal as Voice of Montreal by Alex Laurent, Dominique Olivier as an alternative punk magazine. The founders hired Sarosh Alvi as the editor, Shane Smith as a sales rep, and Gavin McGinnis as a cartoonist. After stealing the magazine from Alex Laurent, Shane and Gavin later launched a youth media company, Vice Media, which consists of divisions including print and magazine. I thought it was before then. I thought there was something even before then. It was like before it was what is it, Voice of Montreal, but maybe not. Maybe I'm misremembering. They got money from the Canadian government as it was an English paper in Quebec. Oui, oui. Oui, oui. Yeah, see, the magazine was launched in 1994 as the Voice of Montreal as with the Quebec Welfare Grant. The intention of the founders was to provide work and the community service. When the editors later sought to dissolve their commitments with the original publisher, Alex Laurent, they brought him out and changed the name to Vice in 1996. Tabarnak. Richard Sovilinski, a Canadian software millionaire, acquired the magazine and relocated the operation in New York City in the late 1990s. Following the relocation, the magazine quickly developed a reputation for provocative and politically incorrect content. Yeah. And customers could purchase fashion items that were advertised in the magazine. However, due to the end of the dot-com bubble, the three founders eventually regained ownership of the Vice brand, followed by the closure of the stores. Gavin McInnes left in 2008. And then at the commencement of 2012, an article in Forbes magazine referred to Vice as Vice Media. Vice acquired a fashion magazine ID in December 2012, and by February 2013, Vice produced 24 global editions of the magazine. I wonder if I have some of the older ones that I used to pick them up for free. But yeah. They had a fun little YouTube page that I'm sure many of you have seen. I'm sure you've watched many of the YouTube videos, like their OG documentaries, travel guides, do's and don'ts, things of that nature. One of the funniest, like, we used to have a meme at the Young Turks office, me and this other producer. We would just like yell out article titles that were fucking insane and then go Voice, which ironically in a situation where like they like we would just be like, we got I don't know, we got hipsters in Ghana to dumpster dive for crocodile Voice, like that sort of shit, you know what I mean? And it used to be like a joke that ketamine horse traders, like that kind of shit. Exactly. And then Bill Hader did that joke, actually. The El Chingon. You know what I mean? That was awesome. Drones, I think. The documentary, now parody, is still one of the greatest, in my opinion.
The world is nuts. No one knows what's going to happen next. But whatever goes down, we'll be there, keeping a close eye on all the madness. This is the world of drones.
This is a Vice parody from IFC. It was perfect.
Hi, I'm Jameson Friend. We're here in the drones offices in Brooklyn, New York, where our staff is working hard to bring you the real news of today's world. For this week's story, we go to Juarez, Mexico, where the war on drugs has turned this once beautiful city into the deadliest place on earth.
Wait, I want to watch the rest of it. El Chingon! I like that Vice promoted it too. Let me see if I can find it. Oh yeah, The Hunt for El Chingon.
Documentary now.
Murder. Kidnappings. Murder.
A broken system. Mexicans.
Ciudad Juarez. It's the city most closely associated with the Mexican drug.
It's so good. This was so fucking good, dude. Mexicans.
To have this once beautiful city become the drug capital of the world?
Time for a little geography lesson.
Mexico is directly south of America, which means it shares a border with the United States. And what goes over that border? Drugs.
Is that sinking in yet, America?
This is happening in your backyard.
In Juarez, the drug game is headed by the Salvez cartel, which is run by this man, El Chigon. He's killed thousands and made millions, but he left a big mess in the process. We decided to hit the streets and ask the locals what they could tell us about this modern-day Mexican Scarface.
Have you guys seen El Chigon? El Chigon?
Por aquí con una cámara de esas. Muy peligroso.
He's saying it's dangerous to have a camera. All right, thank you very much.
Yeah, whatever, bro.
Es vatos maricones.
They're fans. Hey, thanks, man.
Unfortunately for us, most were too paralyzed by fear to speak up.
She's clearly afraid of something, man. Tell us your story. Are you afraid?
She might be asleep.
El Chigon!
Finally, through social media, we met someone brave enough to talk.
Buenas tardes.
Hey, hi.
Buenas tardes.
Buenas tardes.
Manuel Bautista has lived in Juarez his whole life. Last year, his son Felipe was kidnapped by the cartel.
Talk to us about it?
Okay.
He invited us into his humble hacienda to tell us a tale.
We're going into his home right now.
Hacienda.
And just a warning, the poverty you're about to see may be disturbing to your first world sensibilities.
First generation PlayStation.
Look at that.
Whoa.
The dog's a chicken.
Just to give you an idea of the size.
It just ripped them so well. I mean, this is the vibe overall of a Vice documentary. Like, it's always like some fucking Brooklyn hipster that they send to some like war-torn part of the country. And then they're like, wow, it's crazy. That like greatly, flub the investigation part. And often will like hyper focus on like silly sensationalist parts. I can't remember if this was actually from the drones like parody or if it actually was something that happened in the real world. Wasn't there a conversation? Wasn't there literally a conversation where like they were shitting on CNN and it's like investigative reporting? And the guy was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Of course we're in like all of those countries that you're talking about. Like, and then the Vice guys were like, well, we've never seen them. We've never seen your videos. Fuck, what was it? God damn it. Was it actually from this or was it that was in a real documentary, I think. That was a real thing that happened.
Size of everything, just so you can get the scale. I want to show you guys that this is how far my arms extend in a hallway in a home where someone is raising their family.
It's like a family portrait. Like, look how sad this is.
Wow, this is how people live. You know, they make do with what they can.
This kid's probably a
Yeah, oh, here it is. Here it is. Page 1, David Carr confronts Vice. Their mistake was literally not running 3-minute ads at the top of the hour, which is what I do. And that's why Undefeated at the top of the fucking hour, where we get, a 3-minute ad break. But of course, if you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe, which you can do for $5 or for free with the Twitch Prime. You can also get gifted a sub if you're lucky. Vice! Oh my God. Oh yeah. If they had done that, they probably would be around today and not be fucking bankrupt. Oh wait, also, maybe not have such a expansive, insane, massive, multi-million-dollar operation. Here's the 3-minute ad break now. Ain't your stuff subsidized at least, unlike Vice? Wait, what do you mean? Subsidized by who? Nestor Perez, thank you for the 5 get the subs. Extra summons, thank you for the 5 get the subs as well.
Are going down fast. We'd like to.
Okay, we'll watch this after. Let's keep
Drug dealer
going.
now. Look at him, you could tell.
Like he's a drug dealer now.
Here was a man who had next to nothing, but the real tragedy was not what he
I gotta
owned,
pee, I'll be back.
but what he had lost.
Un día llegaron 2 hombres al rancho y me dijeron que querían tomar posesión de nuestra tierra. Dice que para esconder sus drogas y yo les dije que no. No, los niños están ahí. Pero es que Felipe no sé si está muerto o no.
What did he say? I'm not really sure. Just look at the floor. No, but look back at him.
Ustedes también tienen gentes que se las han llevado.
Yeah, no, we've lost friends too, you know, Rhea and Rick and Sam, a lot of people to the urban farming boom. They left Brooklyn and went to Detroit.
We're happy to hear your story, and we're getting your story out there. And it's all drug money, and everything's built on drug money. And, you know, your clothes are drug money, and this house is built on drug money.
Nosotros no hacemos drogas, se lo juro. Nosotros no
Manuel
hacemos...
wanted answers, and we wanted answers too, about El Chingon. Government comes in and pays for drugs.
Who's that?
Son los hombres del chingón. Me han de haber escuchado que estaba hablando con ustedes.
All right, wait. Turn the light off. All right, so some guys who work for El Chigona outside. We're gonna talk to them, relate, get them to relax, and then maybe get some info out of them. Let's see how it goes. What's going on, fellas? How's it going?
Well, that didn't work.
They died.
So Kyle and John were dead. Luckily for us, they'd already recorded their voiceovers. But we still wanted to get to the bottom of this whole El Chingon stuff, so we brought in 2 more reporters who'd been off on other assignments. Trevor Kenny, who was in Alabama making omelets with a racist sorority.
Whoa! That was not cool.
And Bryce Bowen, who was in the Middle East where he was introducing the Syrian rebel forces to Mario Kart.
You're just driving. What time did that end?
We put Bryce and Trevor on the next flight to Juarez to pick up where their brothers in arms had left off. Back to the mean streets.
Here at Drones, we had a sneaking suspicion that John and Kyle were killed off because they were asking too many questions about the infamous drug lord, El Chingon. But that wasn't gonna stop us from tracking down the man behind the legend.
We're gonna go meet this New York Times reporter and see what she knows about El Chingon, trade some secrets. Drowns. Yeah, we've been doing some research on El Chingon, and it turns out that he's like super oppressive to the people. I don't know, like Skeletor, Darth Vader or something.
like just an evil presence.
Yeah, it's funny. You'd think that the locals would be like really against him, but people here, they really love him. I mean, he's kind of a Robin Hood type figure to them. He provides for them in a way that their own government cannot.
But that's what you heard.
No, that's what I know. I've been doing research on it. The cartel has a really huge stronghold on this whole town. I mean, they've...
Like, as much as, like, New York Times is foreign coverage, a lot of times is, like, State Department cutout, State Department carve-outs, there is a very real element to, like, their news coverage versus, like, the way sometimes Vice and other sensationalist forms of media would do news coverage.
Fun festivals. They have a lot of bars. They have dangerous...
What is it? What's the name of the places?
The Caballo del Oro, Hacienda Corona.
So they're like touristy kind of places?
No, these are places you do not want to go, ever.
We should go there.
No. You guys do not want to go to that place. It is one of the most dangerous places. The cops don't want to go there.
To you.
To everybody.
But what if we... well, I don't speak Spanish. Do you speak Spanish?
Well, exactly. You
A
guys,
poquito.
No, I mean, the army won't go there.
The
Seriously,
army in
you
every
guys.
country is paid off. I've been everywhere.
No, I've done stuff too. You know, I went to Ukraine. They buried me up to my neck, and dudes took turns hitting me in the head with a golf club.
and I was fine there.
I covered fist boxing in China. You know, it's where those just fist fighting, no boxing gloves, just a melee of men. You know, a group just like throwing punches, and that's their sport. And I was there to cover it. I got bruised, but
I was embedded in Tunisia. They put me in a tent and they fattened me up, and then they just to try to marry me off to
Why?
one of the men. I got a kick-ass story out of it.
Wow.
I will go to that length.
Wow.
Okay?
Yeah.
Because we have the balls to go in there and do it.
Okay.
This is extreme.
You understand you might die.
No, that's what someone told the guys before us.
Yeah.
And they're dead, and that's why we're here. But
I don't know, guys. If you're gonna go, can I give you a name of a good fixer?
we already got somebody, and he's pretty sweet.
All right. Good luck to you.
Our fixer is none other than our good friend, streetwise rapper, Ty Dollar Sign.
Yeah. Oh.
Rolling with Ty gives you immediate cred, and as a bonus, it was his first time in Mexico.
got kind of a Deerwolf vibe to it, right?
Well, the music was a bit of a boner. So to make things interesting, we asked Ty to get up on stage for an all-out, no-holds-barred rap battle.
Rap battle against who? Them or you?
Yeah, go up. I think we should go check it out.
Yeah, I'm gonna go up there, all right.
I think he's getting his drink.
I think he left. Do you want to do a battle?
No!
It was time to hit the dance floor. And thanks to our good buddies in the third world fashion scene, we were already rocking the freshest new styles.
These are pointy boots. They're supposedly hugely popular here.
We wore them to mix in with the locals, but it doesn't look like anyone else is really wearing them. We look like a couple of chooches.
As the night went on, and we looked around the club a little more, we made an incredible discovery.
El Chigon, this is the guy we're looking for.
There were pictures of El Chigon everywhere. It turns out the people of Juarez actually love El Chigon. He's kind of a Robin Hood figure to them, a hero who provides for them in ways their government can't. Even the words to the song seemed to
I love that he just like repeated what the New York Times Journal said
reflect
there.
this.
So this band, what they're singing about, they're saying that this Chingon is a great guy, and he's really cool, and he can drink 6 to 8 beers a night and never get a hangover.
Spending a night in dangerous territory had been risky, but by doing so, we had won the trust of the locals. And now that trust was about to pay off.
All right, look, we met these guys inside. They're cops. They have some information on El Chigon. They're gonna tell it to us, but we can't bring the camera in the car, okay? But we've got our microphones on, so listen in, okay? Yeah. Check. Oh, sweet ride. So, fellas, what's up?
Oh, shit.
Trevor and Bryce's tragic end was confirmed in a letter from Ty Dolla Sign. Dear drones, I think they melted your friends. And then these were delivered to the office. Hey, don't open that. Let's keep these, put them in the lounge, throw a couple coffee table books on them. All right? Mm-hmm. First John and Kyle, now Trevor and Bryce. Clearly someone in Mexico was sending us a message. But our work in Juarez was far from over. So we sent in 2 of our very best reporters. Lars Clegg, who was up in the frozen north investigating Mongolian horse pimps.
Hey, so how much is the horse?
And Denver MacGyver, who was deep in the Amazon for a little taste of an ancient tradition known as the Burn Circle.
Oh, really?
And this time, we weren't messing around.
We were ready to turn Juarez upside down to find El Chigon.
El Chigon!
Chigon, where are you?
El Chico, where are you? But as it turns out, tracking down the most wanted man in Mexico wasn't as easy as you might think.
¿Sabes o conoces un hombre que se llame El Chingon?
Luckily, we got hooked up with a local professoro who had some sweet insider information. Because knowledge is power.
Thanks for having us.
Hi, how are you? We're drones.
Hope you don't mind our camera guy.
It's Chris.
Everybody knows El Chingon lives somewhere in the foothills of Salves. That is why it's called the Salves Cartel.
Oh, Salves Cartel. Okay.
You reporters, you knew that already,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Right, no,
The
yeah, we know
foothills.
that. Yeah, we...
Salves.
Salves in the foothills.
Let's go.
So if we just get...
No, wait. Promise me, do not go there. Even the police do not go to Salves.
Because...
Because if you go there, you will die. These guys don't play around.
But wait a minute.
Especially with a camera, they won't even ask any questions. You will be killed.
But that's the key. We do ask questions.
Okay, so you shouldn't go there then.
Foothills and Salves. All right.
Promise me you will not go there.
We promise we won't go.
We're walking for a couple hours. Should be pretty close to El Chigon's house.
There's no place to really walk. There's a lot of weeds. Weeds are a lot thicker than you think, a lot stronger.
And we're the only ones out here. New York Times isn't doing this.
I think New York Times did do a piece out here.
They did?
Yeah.
Well, cut that out. Whoa.
Oh, wow.
So how did we find El Chigon? Same way they found Bin Laden. We looked for the biggest house and knocked on the front door. It's gotta be the house. Oh, there's a dude. Hey, hi, we're from drones. You have...
We're okay, we're okay.
Well, we're good. We're cool. We're cool. We're cool. We're cool.
We're fine. We don't...
Hi. Hi. Who are you? We're from a show called Drones, with a Z. Put the camera up.
How did you find me?
We were just walking around, we saw the house.
We wanted to find you. Kind of what we do is we kind of find the craziest people, and we kind of just wanted an interview with you. And
This is our cameraman. This is Chris. We're
yeah, we're
unarmed,
fine. We're cool, and we just want to get to know the real you. That's a thing, that you are open, and you and your friends can be in it. All you guys can be in the.
We can interview everybody.
We can interview each and every one of you guys. You guys could be on the internet.
Okay.
What's up?
Okay.
Okay.
Hey, okay.
Everything's working? Camera's good?
Holy shit.
All right.
Thank you. And thank you, man. Thanks. That was... All right.
We suddenly had unprecedented access into the life of the world's most dangerous drug trafficker. At first, it was invigorating.
Oh my God, I've never done this much coke in my life.
Yes, it did. What about Beth's barbecue?
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Right?
Chris, you gotta get on this. Here, I'll hold the camera. Hit that shit, bro!
But as soon as we began walking in El Chigon's shoes, a strange logic emerged.
Woo! Hey man, that's some Fast and Furious man. Yeah!
And as we unraveled the enigma, we learned so much about the real El Chigon. Like his middle name, which is Ignacio, which shortens to Nacho. It's pretty rad. Most importantly, we discovered that, deep down, this powerful kingpin is really just a fun dude who's into cool stuff. Like smoothies. A total partier with suave taste and a generous heart. We danced with his daughters, hung with his compadres, and fiested Mexican gangster style.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Dude, are you okay? You okay? Yeah. Things are going pretty good. We still haven't gotten that interview yet. I think El Chigon's gonna sit down with us pretty soon, and it's gonna be pretty great. But I mean, Juarez isn't that bad.
You have to speak up for the mic. I learned that from Chris.
Chris, you're a asshole, man. You're an animal, Chris. Drones.
We finally built up enough trust to sit down for our long-awaited interview with the man himself, El Chigon.
Thank you so much for making us feel so welcome. It's been an unbelievable experience. So I guess we could start doing this interview. So how do you decide who is going to be like a guard for you?
It all happened so fast. One of the deadliest raids in the history of the war on drugs. Afterwards, the cops searched the property, smoked out the survivors, but El Chigon was nowhere to be found. He was the stuff of legend, like an epic verse from one of their shitty polka songs.
What do I say? I mean, I have been embedded with the federal police for an entire year, and this is the biggest operation they've ever conducted. And apparently you guys are right in the middle of it. So that is, wow.
Go back in there. All the cocaine's still in there. What are you talking about? All the cocaine's still in there. Who cares? Just leave it in there. Come on. We're lucky. What do you mean we're lucky? Where are we gonna go? We're gonna get arrested. We'll die. That's nuts. Drowns.
Nice work, boys. We're all really stoked about your next piece on vodka dicking. You put your dick in some vodka and get super wasted on another can't miss episode of Drones. Oh, yeah. That's good beef. Kobe beef straight from Tokyo.
I mean, that was, in my opinion, one of the greatest examples of Vice. I like this is Kobe beef from Tokyo. Yeah. I mean, this is the type of shit that they would do all the time. Yeah, gun merchants, the Vice Guide to Travel. So they used to show some crazy shit. So this is a 2011 documentary, so I don't want to watch the whole thing. Also, this is the real Vice. This is not a documentary. I mean, this is not a mockumentary. This is a documentary. Ah! Dude, it's the same. It's the same. It's the same. It's the same. Why same, though? I mean, it's the same video of what we just watched. Heroin is a synthetic drug that was invented in the late 1800s. Oh, yeah. Are you sure this is not a mockumentary? No. I mean, this is also not really a documentary either. He's just like a dude. It's just a Luger, dude. Like, what the fuck? He held it. It was like pure evil in my hand. Isn't that literally still used in competitive shooters because of its accuracy as a handgun? Oh, fuck. It's like my man goes to the fucking shooting range. He's like, Luger, pure evil in my hand. He said it like the gun itself is a Nazi. Vice in the chat said, boss is so poetic. Oh, brother, I hope you don't get fired. All jokes aside. My man is not shooting at a target. He said the people we saw had no tongues, bro. That turned into a $5.7 billion valuation. Shouts out to Rupert Murdoch for that one. Okay. This motherfucker saw one dude who didn't have a tongue, which we don't even know if that was the case or not. And basically it was like, they have these people out here, they have no tongues. They live in caves and they build guns by hands. I love that. Like the way this is literally funnier than the fucking parody. Okay? It's funnier than like the actual fucking parody that they made. The original one. The army shut them down and they couldn't say a word. Want to guess why? Because they had no tongues. Dog, they had no tongues. I mean, North Korea was like their big one too. The Vice North Korea one, that was a huge one. Where the fuck is it? Wait, I just lost it. I literally. That was 11 years ago in 2011. But like even that, I would consider the North Korea doc to be a new Vice doc. I think that the North Korea one is like still a relatively new one. Their OG ones were like crocodile. There was a drug that like people were using to the Cannibal Warlords of Liberia is another one. Yeah, that one we can't watch. Obviously, that like it just is insane. There's like dicks in that. I'm pretty sure. That's why I was saying we can't watch these on stream. No, not the general butt naked. Wait, click by their most popular. Says a lot about YouTube. Yeah, I don't even know if I can show the thumbnails on their most popular ones. Oh, okay. I can show some of it. It's all sex, though. It's like making the world's first male sex doll slut ever. 84 million views. Porno boot camp, the training ground for amateur porn actors. Medically assisted sex. The biggest ass in Brazil. UK scariest debt collector. What the fuck? I've never seen this one before. What the fuck is this? 10 years ago, Sean Smith was an enforcer for one of the biggest crime families in Liverpool and embroiled in a war against a rival drug gang. Sean introduced urban terrorism to the British underworld. He sprayed up houses with machine guns, tortured people, and used homemade napalm to firebomb his enemies. Today, after a spell of 5 years in prison for firearms offenses, he's trying to transfer those skills to the legal economy while working as a debt collector in a northern English satellite town of Warrington. What? The Westminster's Dog Show on acid?
Hey, my name's Braden, and I'm going to the Westminster Dog Show at Madison Square Garden on acid.
This can't be real. It's so real. This is what Vice did. This was peak Vice. Are you kidding me? This is a classic. Dude, this shit was so dumb. God, I watched so much of this shit. The Vice North Korea documentary was in 2008. I know this because it was on VBS and had the Vice travel guide intro card on the videos. It was definitely old Vice. Yeah, no, I was not talking about the Dennis Rodman one. This one is new Vice, I think, right? Vice went to North Korea a lot, but the original one is I think this is not the original one. Bro, I always wondered if this was legal. Like when people talk about using drugs, obviously it's protected under free speech, but when you're literally filming yourself taking an illicit drug, can't the cops smack you for that? I guess you could just say that it's like. This is the OG one. Yeah, this is the OG one. Oh yeah, I guess this. Oh, this is the same one. This is that one. Never mind. They just re-uploaded it, I guess. They just re-uploaded it as Vice News. The world's scariest drug, crocodile, was another banger. And then the other one was the drug that they use in, like, I forget, it was a Latin American country where they like you would take it and then they would like deplete your entire ATM. They would go to the ATM and deplete your entire fucking bank account. What was it? What was the? Yeah, was it Colombia? Burundunga? Scolopamine? I think this is the one, right? Yeah, it is. This is the one. Yeah. Checks out a strange and powerful drug called scolopamine, also known as the devil's breath. It's a substance so intense that it renders a person incapable of exercising free will. The first few days in the country were a harrowing montage of freaked out dealers and unimaginable horror stories of scolopamine. After meeting only a few people with first-hand experience, this story took a far darker turn than we could have ever imagined. Vice! Identical to drones. I'm so glad I showed you guys drones, and now I'm showing you this instead. Because this is like, oh God, OG Vice, man. Oh, forced to be reckoned with. Fuck me. Holy shit. Such memories. $5.7 billion, dude. Like, well, I'll do it. He's like, this documentary needs to take a dark turn, which is why I'm going to take get you off of a whiff of paper, dog. They probably fucking put it in your goddamn. No. I know that they use scolopamine. I know that they use scolopamine in doing crimes in Colombia. I just meant that they probably drug your drink or something. You know what I mean? $50,000 a year. Scolopamine can render a victim unconscious for 24 hours or more. In large doses, it can cause respiratory failure or death. Like, yeah. Beside robberies, it's also allegedly involved in express kidnapping and sexual assault. Yeah, see, most commonly the person has been poisoned by a robber who gave the victim scolopamine-laced beverage in the hope that the victim would become unconscious or unable to effectively resist the robbery. Yeah. Scopolamine, not scolopamine. Sorry, scopolamine. Oh, Azan is scopolamine. Yeah. Everything works. The CIA would be all over this. Exactly. Like, as far as I know, there's no like, oh, you looked at you smelled a fucking piece of paper and all of a sudden you're like 24 hours, you're in a fucking captive state. I don't think that works. There's definitely, it's definitely a bit embellished, right? Like they probably lace your drink or something like that. It's probably the most common way to do it. I mean, it sells, besides robberies, is allegedly used in express kidnappings and sexual assault. Hospital clinic has found little scientific evidence to support this use and relies on the victim's stories to reach a conclusion. Although poisoning by scopolamine appears quite often in media as an aid for raping, kidnapping, killing, or robbery, the effects of this drug is the way that it's applied by criminals, transdermal injection, or playing cards or newspapers, are often exaggerated, especially skin exposure, as the dose that can be absorbed by skin is too low to have any effect. Bro, I might not know every little thing about drugs, but at least I know some things about drugs, okay? When motherfuckers tell you, oh, dude, skin contact is really, really effective in, like, destroying you, okay? No. There you go. I told you. Scopolamine transdermal patches, just like fentanyl, must be used for hours to days. There are certain other aspects of the usage of scopolamine in crimes. Powdered scopolamine is used as devil's breath. It's portrayed as a method to brainwash or control people into being defrauded by their attackers. There's debate whether these claims are true. It is not verified if the powdered form is capable of inducing a suggestive state. The danger is real enough that in addition to the Overseas Security Advisory Council, the U.S. Department of State, as well as the government of Canada, publish travel advisories warning travelers about the possibility of targeting criminals using devil's breath. Often use attractive young women they target men to believe are wealthy. Anyway. But yeah, it makes sense that, like, cocaine has no medical usage. Scopolamine does. What is he saying? Like, you're wrong, Hassan. Cocaine does. Medical cocaine. I guess cocaine does have medical usage. I'm wrong. I was thinking of fucking, like, Freud. I was thinking of, my bad. Yes, there's liquid cocaine. There's medical cocaine. I'm sorry. You're right. It does have medical usage. I was thinking of Freud. Like, thinking that you can just use cocaine to treat people for random shit. Scopolamine is used to prevent nausea and vomiting caused by motion sickness or medications used during surgery. It's an antimuscarinic. And it blocks the effects of a certain natural substance, acetylcholine, in the central nervous system. This is the most dangerous drug in the world. I have pure evil in my hands. Not dissimilar. My man goes to a fucking CVS, gets scopolamine transdermal. He gets a transdermal scopolamine. He goes, this is pure evil in my hands. I'm about to have 8 hours of medically induced anti-nausea medication. Pure evil. Colombians have no tongues. Yeah. This guy has no tongue. Why? Scopolamine. What the fuck? That'd be a real bad idea. This guy looks at a cashew, goes, most dangerous plant of all time. Poisonous. That's right. I learned about that last month. And now I'm going to use it all the fucking time. You know what I mean? Pointing at a cashew plant, pure evil. That'll kill you. Give that to your mom, she'll fucking die. You'll kill her. You'll kill her immediately. Top of the hour ad break, pure evil. At the top of the hour, Colombians are being affected by the top of the hour ad break. And it's pure evil, really. But there's one renegade out there that's telling you you can subscribe for $5 or for free with a Twitch Prime by connecting your Amazon account to your Twitch account, where you get one free Prime subscription a month, or by getting gifted a sub. Shut Up Axel is one of the heroes of the story, gifting 5 gifted subs, allowing 5 people to no longer see the ads at the top of the hour. Preston Ford TW also gifting 5 gifted subs. Remember it that well, but what Vice didn't tell you about
basically what is happening here is that we have this spiritual tree that has been used for a while for our indigenous people, and now it's turned into a very, very, very bad weapon against people just to take their belongings and stuff like that.
Imagine a drug that can transform you into a zombie slave, that can leave you completely at the mercy of a robber who can empty your bank account, steal all your possessions, and possibly worse. The drug is easily extracted from nightshade plants. It's tasteless, odorless, and can be swiftly mixed into drinks, food, and cigarettes. And the worst thing, once you're under its spell, to the outside world, you seem completely conscious and aware, so no one really knows you're in danger.
This demon drug is called borrachero. Ask any Colombian local about it, and it's a safe bet you'll get a chilling horror story in return.
Probably like 15 years ago in Bogota, that was a real issue. One time it happened to a friend that
Have you seen this, Hassan? Oh, I know exactly what this is. Bro, this is my favorite fucking video, dude. I saw this on Twitter. Like, bro, this motherfucker, like, how he moves. Where are you moving, dog? Look at this fucking freak, dude. Function check. Thank God he did a function check. Because you don't want to be caught slipping when the ops show up. You know what I mean? And the ops are who? Like fucking teenagers, dog? Like who? Who are the ops? You're in Portland, Oregon. What is happening? Bro, he's crazy. He's like, police are bad. And then here's why my trad wife homeschools our kids. Bro, if you're putting on a level 3 ceramic armor to get pizza, you're fucking cooked, dude. You're cooked. A non-binary barista. Who is this man? Just the most normal Portland woodworking guy. I just don't. Bro thinks he's in Gotham. Dude, the problem is he is the op. Okay? Like, he thinks he's got ops. Bro, you are the op. You are a menace. If you are this fucking crazy and this scared that someone is going to kill you, okay? And you have, like, an entire arsenal, okay? Like, why do you have an MK18 with, like, the retractable fucking foldable arm? What is happening? Look at this stock. Why? What point would you ever need to use this? Like, on your daily fucking... Why is this your daily driver? Okay? Why? Explain this to me. It's a pistol brace, actually. Okay, shut the fuck up. Like, are you gonna do a school shooting? Like, what's happening? Are your ops at the school? Are they in the kindergarten? Why? I said, what if you just went to therapy? He had to do extra background checks, and they looked at him and said, yeah, of course, he's white. What do you mean? The brace is a loophole which legally makes this rifle a pistol. Yeah, I know. I understand. This is how the U.S. Forest Service eliminates federal agents. They're coming after my wood shop, man. This is the type of dude who 100% believes that there was like a hydrogen car that was created and then the American government assassinated him. And he like thinks he's made the same car with wood, and he's worried that, like, you know, the Bureau of Land Management is going to come and kill him, okay? That's why he has all of this. He basically is masturbating every day to his own Waco moment, okay? Watch this guy before, check his profile. No, I have not. I would remember his face, dude.
How the U.S. Forest Service fires a wood stove. Split your billet into 3 sizes: small, medium, and large. This is the top.
Bro, why? Bro, he's got no shoes on. Yo! Are you fucking insane? Yo, the splinters? Are you fucking crazy? Put some fucking shoes on. You mean foot prisons? Bro, you're cutting wood. Are you out of your fucking mind, dude? Are you out of your fucking mind? That is literally the dumbest thing you could do. Oh my God. I used to watch this guy's YouTube videos all the time. He used to be a great homesteader, tool reviewer, but the pandemic made him go fucking nuts down the prepper conservative hole. Of course it did. He said some shit about going to find a wife in Asia. His wife is white, though. So he didn't even follow his own advice, it seems. Practice what you preach, my man. What is this?
In today's episode of TradCon Lunch, we
TradCon wife wrangle star, professional homeowner.
actually have the TradCon here. What's it like being a TradCon wife?
Well, I think this is breakfast unless I get to skip a meal today. You know, I'm just trying to make you happy. I don't know anything about TradCon. We make each other happy, right?
Well, beautiful. We have bacon, turkey bacon, our organic eggs, and peeled potato hash browns.
That's right. A little bread. And
There you go. What's the secret to a man's heart?
Well, I can't say that. I can't say that in public, can I?
No, you can't.
Yo, they're fucking so hard. You got some good tips,
There is
though.
a disturbing trend that has gotten traction in our cities. People are actually going to Home Depot, buying spray foam for $4.38 and filling up parking meters. Now, this is absolutely despicable. Why anyone would go to Home Depot and buy spray foam for $4.38 to disable parking meters is beyond me. Our cities need those taxes. They need that money to keep our cities running clean and free of crime. And I just can't imagine why anyone would.
Okay, I do like this. This is funny. I mean, no reason to fucking. I mean, I suspect he hates homeless people, but like also it's pretty funny. Like he's very clearly saying this sarcastically. Chatters. No, this guy is an anarchist, 100%. This guy probably was like originally a kind, thoughtful, and as normal as you can be anarchist who turned into a fucking wingnut over the pandemic, as the chatter also mentioned. Yeah, no, this is like a dying breed of old school libertarians who literally are for freedom of travel and like, you know, hate that, you know, they hate the police genuinely, and they fucking genuinely hate taxes and also the age of consent laws.
If I was a young person actually considering a Western white woman, I would almost demand a virgin, to be honest with you. But in extraordinary...
What the fuck? Yo, 20K likes, bro. I swear to God, I want to do like, I want to do a test on YouTube where like I fucking put on makeup and like, you know, hide who I am actually. And just start a channel where I just say like women are whores and sluts and see how much I can fucking see how much like demand that gets. Because I know the marketplace is so fucking horny for this, dude. You write any video where you say the most unhinged shit, like just stuff that would normally get you laughed out of most like normal rooms, just stuff that would probably get you institutionalized in a normal world. You just say that on YouTube, 20K likes. Okay, 20K likes immediately. This guy said something that I think is gross. Okay, he's like, if you're going after a Western white woman, you better demand she's a virgin. Normal circles, someone says that. Think about it. Think about it. In any private conversation that you're having, a guy just pops in with that it's over. Your relationship is dramatically different going forward. For me, at least, like, if a person says that around me, I'm going to be like, hold on, what? How can I bottle this energy and like literally have you around me at all times? Because I want to know what other kind of fucking freak ideas you have. And that's because I'm a freak. But in other circumstances, I'd be like, if someone said that, I'd be like, okay, this is an insane person. It's over. I will never be able to take you seriously ever again. I hear those words come out of your mouth. I'd be like, oh, dude, you're a fucking psycho. Like, I want to consume you as content, but like, I will never see you as like a real human being.
Situations, no more than 2. Any more than 2, I would far prefer to go down to, I don't care, Southeast Asia.
He said, I don't give a fuck. Well, I guess you can't rule out that he's racist. You know what I mean? I don't even care. Any kind of Southeast Asian country. I love, like, bro hates white women. He has a white wife. I legitimately don't understand why, like, you can say the most unhinged, most insane shit on YouTube and there's a market for it. Like, people fucking lose their minds over. They're like, dude, you are speaking so many facts, sir. This is how the U.S. Forest Service finds a wife.
For a traditional woman, the Philippines, South America, wherever, Mexico, I would much prefer, I would absolutely take a wife outside of my race that had traditional values.
What? Why is he saying that? Like,
if
it's
Proho were to take an empty water bottle and fill it up halfway with black oil-based paint, then add a little used motor oil, and for good measure, a few pinches of sand, and then stretch a water balloon over the opening, and then lob this party favor, let's say an occupying force. Goodness, that oil-based paint is difficult to deal with, hard to wash off. And that oil, well, it's slippery too. And the sand, goodness, it plays havoc on face shields. Not so good for optics either. Act accordingly.
The Forest Service references are because he lost his job and has gone buck wild ever since. Watch the EMP-proof hat one.
Today I'll show you how to make an EMP-proof beanie to protect your noodle from all of the negative rays. You can buy this metal tape at Home Depot. It's in the HVAC department. It's used for taping ductwork together. This is better than a tinfoil hat because it's more discreet and people are less likely to think that you're insane. Foil tape has a really sticky backing that sticks to pretty much any fabric, but you want to use wool because it resonates with the proper frequencies. Overlap the seams and keep adding until you completely surround the perimeter. Now you're ready to go out into the world protected from the rays. Stay grounded, beloved.
Wait, there's no way this is... I think this clip explains the whole channel. No facial hair, not normal video. No, I don't think this is a joke, man. I don't think he's joking here. I love that he always plays that same song, too. Like, no matter what he's talking about.
How the U.S. Forest Service rehangs its double bit axe heads. To start with, you'll need a good Tennessee hickory handle. Vintage axe heads like this American Collins pattern will have different openings on the top and bottom. Make sure you start in the smaller opening. Fit the handle and work on the best you can. The rub marks will tell you where you need to remove, and a spoke shave works the best.
There's two sides to this guy. I like them both. How is he doing this, like, insane switch up? He's actually schizophrenic.
This is the first night of me grounding my bed. This is how I implemented it. Some of you asked me to show how it was going to be set up.
Why is there an Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez comic book on his bedside?
I ran the tape across here, and that's hooked up to a ground wire, and then an alligator clip into... This is just temporary. We'll see how it works, but grounded into the house, which goes to a heavy copper rod. So subscribe if you'd like to hear for the results.
What? My friend did this and his sleep was so good he didn't wake up. Make sure you ground your foil helmet as well. As an electrician, I would strongly advise against this. Yeah, woke electricians are out to get me, dude. Kai and I Show Speed are gonna do a show together exclusively on Rumble. Pepe W.
I've been thinking. Since you been, let's start our own show. No, man, I'm getting out. Professional football player. Professional footballer? Man United. Striker. Bro, get off Ronaldo's dick. You ISO Speed from Ohio. The only thing that you striking is Messi hitting your mom. All right, so we starting a show. What the fuck we doing?
I like the concept. I just don't know why it's on Rumble. I guess they gave him the bag, but it's like, do they not know the Rumble audience is like, you know, aren't the Rumble audience kind of racist? Like, am I crazy? It's like Steven Crowder and then Kai Cenat and I Show Speed.
I don't know what the fuck is going on. Oh my God! Come on, Speed, catch up!
Oh yeah, Gideon's on Rumble too. I heard about how Rumble was trying to make plays on becoming a more mainstream platform and how they were trying to move away from like the Trump shit, but I doubt it. But
God fucking damn it, bro! I wasn't fucking ready. What the fuck? Bro, anybody gonna watch this? Yeah, you right. You born as fuck anyways, bro. Bro, you from Ohio. And bitch, you from the Bronx. Bro, fuck you. What the fuck?
I mean, the reason why I said I think it's going to be interesting is because, like, I mean, Kai is a very good entertainer. I Show Speed is definitely not my speed because I'm not 12 years old, but, you know, they are captivating to different demographics. So I think that they will genuinely bring in an audience to Rumble. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Get you praise, Kai? Aren't they the same type of Joker? No, not at all. They should have called it Kai Show Speed. Have we forgotten that Speed did the copyright shit? Yeah, no, I haven't forgotten. Kai is good at live content because he's good at reading chat's vibes. Scripted content, though, looked like shit. So what a lot of people don't understand is, here's what it is. Okay, Kai did scripted content on his 30-day stream. And I think that when he was doing that, he did a great job with it. Okay? I mean, it wasn't like scripted. It was unscripted in the sense that this is reality TV. And this is unscripted as well in the same sense that it's reality TV. But I think he did great overall. So I think that this could be interesting. But one problem is, or at least what a lot of people don't recognize is, like, there's a reason why TV is TV, okay? There's a reason why TV is TV. It requires a tremendous amount of fucking pre-planning, professionals that have been in the industry for many, many years. And even when they stray away, even when TV strays away a little bit from how they normally make it, you immediately see it and you recognize it. So in a sense, I feel like the more live streamers get closer to like TV style production without TV style budgets, because why the fuck would you do TV style budgets? Because, you know, live streaming on the internet is never going to generate as much income as TV. The closer you become to TV and the more comparable you become to TV, which is not necessarily a good thing. Does that make sense? So we'll see what happens. I think Kai is a very good entertainer, like I said, and I Show Speed himself is, like, I guess, captivating to an audience. It's not for me, but I recognize that it is. So we'll see what happens. It didn't work for G4 exactly. What is this? Scripted. It was ideas that he had on his whiteboard for like 2 years and he finally did them. It's not like an orchestrated act. No, it's unscripted. It's unscripted. Unscripted. But unscripted in the sense that it's on TV. Like when you think of unscripted on TV, when you look at unscripted on TV, it's still planned content, but it's not scripted in the sense that it's not like, you know, a TV show like Law and Order. You know what I mean? It's reality TV. That's the closest thing you can get to. G4 and Kai/Speed appeal to completely different audiences. Yes, but again, G4, television budget, television production, on live stream. It didn't work out. Does that make sense? So we'll see. It did work out for Kai when he did it for 30 days straight. So maybe he can recreate it. I guess like I guess it'll be interesting to see what happens, especially on Rumble. Yeah, the whole reason people love watching streamers is that it's not like TV. That's why I always think it's weird when people say it's moving streaming forward when streamers replicate traditional TV. Well, even if you replicate traditional TV, as long as you you know, do a live streaming audience feedback component built into it, and you try to turn traditional TV style formats, which are proven, like there's a reason why they're tested and proven, guys. As an entertainer, I'm the first to admit that like television bits and sketches and skits that have been around for fucking, you know, 30, 40, almost 50 fucking years are good because, and we use them in our type of content as well. Like, I'll give you an example. Okay, yeah, Name Your Price is a great example of this. But I'll give you another example. I've done this as well. Remember when Cutie came over with Maya and we did the, what was it, Spill Your Guts segment, which was a banger. It was awesome, right? That's stolen from like Jimmy Fallon. You know what I mean? No matter how dog shit a television show is, they will definitely have like some sketches that you can, or some quirky little bits that you can do that absolutely works. It works. That's why they do it on TV. TV is still, you know, TV is still TV. You know what I mean? They still make billions of dollars. You can get close TV and adapt it for streaming. Look at all the German's content. Exactly. The fact that you don't list the NBA as an unscripted TV show speaks volumes. I mean, it is. It is a scripted TV show. You're right. Anyway, what is this? A Hasanabi head in China?
Wait.
That's a good question, Jake.
What are you doing in Shanghai?
I told you, like, fuck. I asked you for advice.
Was I streaming?
No. I think I was, I'm a Hasanabi head. So I was
Hasanabi guy?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was waiting in line, and I saw you, and I asked you about Shanghai since
you were in line for the signing or the meeting.
Yeah. What are you doing?
Nice. It's a perfect segue into the Drew Gooden.
Sorry I haven't posted a video in a while. I went to Europe on vacation, but we accidentally locked our keys in the car, so we had to swim back. Boy, are my arms tired.
Oh, come on.
That's the best you could come up with?
It's been like 2 months, man. You suck.
Ah, shit. In case you didn't hear, the Writers Guild of America went on strike this month for the first...
Good meta commentary. I like that. Okay, I'm going to pee. I'll be back in a second. This is Drew Gooden's new video on the writer strike, which I will be covering in a second.
In 15 years. As a result, shows like Saturday Night Live, The Daily Show, and Late Night with Jimmy, and Jimmy have ceased production until negotiations are agreed upon. The longer the negotiations take, however, the more shows will be delayed and affected. It won't just be daily talk shows, it'll be entire seasons of your favorite Netflix show. And for the shows that insist on powering through without writers, it will have the potential to completely tank the entire series. Because that's what happened last time, and there's a very good chance it's going to happen again. If you don't remember the 2007 writers' strike, it was a weird time for TV. Scrambling to come up with new programming without being able to employ writers, a lot of networks started doubling down on reality shows, which really altered the landscape of television for years and years after that, even though the strike itself only lasted about 13 weeks. I mean, TLC started just falling around families with a bunch of kids for a while. That was kind of weird. The Apprentice went from being nearly canceled to one of the most popular shows on TV, which I'm sure didn't have any political ramifications about 9 years later. But maybe worst of all, they started airing Price is Right. at night. A lot of scripted shows at the time basically imploded from the strike. Seasons would be cut short, or instead they'd just try to keep on making them without the writers, and that was usually a disaster. The one I personally remember being affected the most was Heroes. This show was so fun to watch when it first came out. It felt like a big event that like everyone was tuned into. But starting out, it was very similar to Lost's first season, where you've got like this huge ensemble of characters, and as it goes, you kind of spend each one episode fleshing them out each individually, and you start to realize how they're all intertwined. I remember the finale being like hinted at from the beginning, so you kind of knew where everything was going to converge, but you were still fascinated just to see how it would get there.
No, Heroes!
Also, the main villain of the show could cut people's heads open by pointing at them, and that was cool as hell. So when season 2 started, the showrunner developed this big vision for everything that would come, but had to slow things down for a bit, set up some new characters and plot points, get the ball rolling on that. And it was a little confusing, but you felt like it was all leading to something. Until the writer's strike hit. Suddenly they have to scramble to condense 12 episodes into a 2-part finale, and what was already a little bit of a mess only gets 100 times messier. All of the momentum the show needed going forward was gone. A lot of these new characters got so little airtime, but then became integral to the story, and in the dust was left a show that ultimately survived the strike, but never fully recovered from the damage. Most movies weren't affected nearly as much as scripted TV was, but the ones that were hit hard. Quantum of Solace was shot with very little script, and obviously no writers on set, so they just had Daniel Craig improvise lines that he thought James Bond would say, and we'll fix it in post. They did not fix it in post. Transformers Revenge of the Fallen began filming with no script, just a 14-page outline written by Michael Bay himself.
What? What the fuck? Yo, I did not know that. Oh my God, they made such fucking dog shit, dude. That's crazy. Michael Bay was like, I don't need a script. It's just explosions anyway.
Knowing Transformers, 14 pages actually kind of seems like a lot. I can only assume he was using a really big font. But as rough as things got for the movies that bombed and the shows that got canceled, these failures were ultimately necessary for the Writers Guild to win, because they were able to prove the value that they had to companies who seemed to think that they didn't have any. All it took was hundreds of millions of dollars in lost revenue for Universal and Paramount to be like, wait, if we don't have writers to write the shows, then we can't make any shows.
Why do people keep saying new Internet Historian? Internet Historian came out with a new video? Really? Why are people saying that?
And that we can't make any money off the shows? Why didn't you explain it to me like that in the first place? So eventually their demands were met, the strike ended, and the producers and writers lived happily ever after. Until like 12 days ago. The WGA is striking again with a few main bullet points. They're trying to stop production companies from continuing to shrink writers' rooms. They're fighting to be paid residuals for streaming shows rather than just a day rate. And they're fighting to keep AI out of the writers' room altogether, because as much as Silicon Valley tech bros look at ChatGPT with dollar signs in their eyes, it completely undermines writers and really the entire point of art in the first place. Not that that matters. So one of the biggest differences between this strike and the last one is that a lot of the demands coming from the writers are in regards to streaming services, which for years have been treated by Hollywood as like this fun little side thing that,
Pretty fire for Drew to make this video, by the way. It's unique, it's entertaining, and it talks about the fucking writer's strike. I mean, what a fucking G, dude. What a ledge. What a fucking ledge. Absolute ledge, yeah? Fucking hell.
It doesn't come close to matching the allure and prestige of cable television.
I am a surgeon!
Even though
he put the good doctor in there
popular
too.
And well-respected show from the past 7 years has come from Apple TV, Netflix, or HBO Max. But because streaming is still archaically being viewed in this way, the writers are not able to receive nearly the same benefits. For example, thanks to past strikes and negotiations, network TV writers continue to get paid every time their show re-airs in syndication. So since shows like The Office and It's Always Sunny air over and over and over again on cable television, and they're therefore continue to earn revenue, the writers keep getting paychecks. Which makes sense, right? As long as something keeps making money, then everyone involved in making it should keep getting a percentage of that money. But on streaming, there is no potential for growth for the people who helped bring it into existence. If you're involved in writing something that goes on to become the most popular show on Hulu for weeks and causes thousands of people to sign up for a subscription that they didn't have before just because they want to see the show you made, and maybe they even like it so much that they just continue to pay that subscription until the next season comes out, none of that matters to you because you'll never see any of that extra revenue that you helped earn. There's no financial upside for doing a good job. So overall, that's probably the biggest issue of the strike, but there are a few others. For years, production companies have been pushing for smaller and smaller writing rooms, which puts more work on the shoulders of fewer people and gets rid of the job security that used to be there for everyone who is now brought on for just as short of a time as humanly possible. Most of those people are paid for just a couple of weeks of work. They come in, they learn the show, they contribute a few ideas, and then they're told to get the fuck out of there so we don't have to put your name in the credits and we don't have to keep you employed while we continue to work on the thing that you helped come up with. And I think this is where one of the biggest misunderstandings about scripts comes in, where people treat it as if it's something the writers just type up and then they print it out and then the script is done. Now we can send all those people home and show them the movie when we're done filming it in 6 months. But that's not how it works, or at least not how it should and has in the past. Scripts are constantly evolving, even once filming starts. Sometimes everyone shows up to set and a joke doesn't really work as it was written because it just doesn't sound right coming from the actor, or a prop doesn't look like the way they had intended and now this line doesn't make sense.
It's wild that you gotta fucking describe this and how important it is. And originally I thought like, oh no, everybody understands that like writing is important. And then I realized, and then I, started streaming on twitch.tv one day when the writer's strike was happening, and people didn't even recognize that like the set you see, like what you see with your eyes, what you visualize, what you were seeing with your eyes was written on a script at some point, and people didn't even get that. Like, people literally do not understand that, like, when you see a set, you think that, like, oh, it came there on its own. Like, no, man, someone wrote that in there. So then they hired, like, a set designer and a bunch of other teams to basically put that together. Yeah, like, when we were watching the trailer for 10 Cloverfield and someone was like, there's no lines in this, dog. What did the writers write? Everything! Fuck!
Or the location doesn't accommodate the shot that they had planned. So now we got to quickly get together and figure out an alternative because every second that we don't get work done, we are burning through our budget. Let's brainstorm, guys. From what I've heard from people in the industry, this stuff happens literally every day. It's just how filming goes. So having people in the room who wrote the words and understand the story inside and out is the best way to make a quick change that doesn't disrupt the flow of filming. It's a collaborative process from everyone involved in order to make the best thing possible. And sometimes that means adapting on the fly rather than just, sticking with words that were typed 4 months ago, no matter what happens. But like I said, this entire part of the process has slowly been getting cut out in order to save costs, and this is having two major effects on the industry. One, it's making shows not as good as they could be because you're having fewer people on set to contribute ideas when changes are inevitably needed. And two, writers are missing out on the invaluable experience that comes with being on set during your production, where they would get a glimpse into the entire process and everything that goes into bringing these scripts to life. Experience that historically has been vital as these writers continue to move up the career ladder to showrunner, director, executive producer. Like, they have to realize that they're cutting out this entire sector of built-in, inexpensive, on-the-job training in an industry where more and more money keeps getting thrown at these giant productions, but then you're handing the keys over to people who've never been even remotely taught how to be in charge of something like that.
In my own experience, I had a full room for 20 weeks with a brilliant group of writers. None of them were allowed to come to set. Their contracts ended before we started production. So they're all technically writer-producers. Some of them had the title of producer, but they were not welcome to set to produce their episodes, which is both robbing the show of their perspective. But your point is it's robbing the future of the industry because the thing.
What's so funny is that a lot of those guys are like copywriters with blue check marks talking about people that direct and come up with the entertainment they enjoy. Bitch, you're a writer. You write shitty marketing type. You're not better. Yeah, well, that's the difference because, like, it's almost like you listen to Chapo in their latest episode. Yeah, everything revolves around Chapo in their latest episodes. So the thing is, I mean, I love Chapo. They're my friends, but, like, come on now. Only Chapo knows things about writers. Oh my God. Gotta talk about David Simon. Thank you, friggin' Banana Pants. Yo, David Simon went on an unhinged rant, by the way. Not about this, but about cops. It was crazy. Did you guys see it? He was like defending cops and policing in the most unhinged way. Okay. Aaron Sorkin is anti-union. Let's go. Of course he is, dude. But a union makes sense when people have more power as a group on having share credit, just right process on the strike. I'm also one of the 9% of the Writers Guild who did not write the vote to support the strike. Let's go. You know, of course Aaron Sorkin is anti-fucking union, dude. Of course he is. 2010. Let's go, baby. Let's fucking go, dude. Of course he is. God, he is so unhinged. David Simon supports the strike at least? Of course. David Simon supports the strike, and he also supports... David Simon is responsible for the best anti-propaganda media that is available for public consumption. And I find it truly hilarious that he spends so much of his time on Twitter defending cops now. Like, where is it? I need to find it. Not the writer's strike one. We'll do one good. We'll do one good David Simon on the writer's strike thing, and then we'll do one on him defending cops. Okay. So Richard Hanania, who is a fucking absolute freakazoid, okay, wrote this. I don't have much hope that we'll solve crime in any meaningful way. It would require a revolution in our culture or form of government. We need more policing, incarceration, and surveillance of black people. Blacks won't appreciate it. Whites don't have the stomach for it. So he just wrote that out loud, which is like insanely racist, right? I mean, absolutely unimaginably racist. So Jeet here turns around and says, this is what all Law and Order people think, but most aren't honest enough to express it publicly, right? David Simon saw that and said, hey, what's up, guys? I'm David Simon, the writer, director of The Wire. Hey, what's up, guys? I'm David Simon. I wrote and directed some of the best anti-cop videos you have seen. I did an incredible rendition of the original work of journalism coming out of Baltimore on We Own the Night is what it was called. I've talked about this a lot. Hey, what's up? I'm David Simon, and I love cops. Hello. He worked on, hey, what's up? I'm David Simon. I worked on the Baltimore Sun City desk for 12 years and wrote Homicide, a year on the killing streets. What's up? I'm David Simon, and you might recognize me from We Own the City. Or what's up? I'm David Simon. You might recognize me from defending the most unhinged racist screed that I will defend now for no reason. He said he's an asshole, but you're doing no one any good service by using him to hyperbolically declare that any and all argument for sound policing is racist in origin or intent. It's like, why did you think that this was about you? Like, you literally could have avoided talking about this. You could have just read that and moved on. But he was like, no, I'm David Simon. I also think Law and Order. I'm a Law and Order guy. Okay? So I'm going to fucking defend it. You can't stop me. I'm David fucking Simon. Okay? It isn't. And a deterrent based on competent retroactive investigation of felonies works. Addressing violent crime by seriously, I fucking had to bookmark it, by seriously probing incidents, especially those in the most vulnerable neighborhoods, and arresting repeat offenders may in fact be the most definitive thing law enforcement can do to reduce serious crime. This has been demonstrated dramatically by several policing initiatives going back to Boston's remarkable programming in 1995. And nothing here argued for profiling and targeting or randomized engagement with black citizens. That shit is certainly worth condemning. But the fact is, when police fail to seriously probe and resolve crimes against vulnerable communities, crime goes up. So here's one thing I have to mention. And it's funny because, like, I say similar things, not defending Richard Hanania, okay? But, like, I say this all the time. I'm like, dog, you still need, like, someone to solve crimes. Whenever someone comes up to me and is like, I'm crusty, and I think, like, there's no reason for policing. We should just, focus on a rehabilitative approach to justice that also does not mean that there's no enforcement of the rules and laws that we have collectively decided are sound, right, for societal development. And I'm like, no, that's stupid because someone needs to solve the crimes. I'm saying police don't currently, okay? You have a 50-50 chance of getting away with murder in this country. That's right. For the record, for those of you who don't know, that's literally a factually correct statistic. It blows my fucking mind, honestly. 50-50 chance of getting away with murder in this country. Only 50% of murders are cleared. Okay, so let's continue, right? So they're not even doing a good job. Okay? So, but ultimately, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because, like, you still need a group of people to just be like, yeah, we gotta solve it. Like, we gotta solve crimes, right? We gotta solve crimes. Is that a W or an L for murder? It's 50-50. It's a W murder or L murder, depending on where your position's at. Okay? So, a bit of a W for murderers and a bit of an L for the murdered. So yeah, I do understand that we still need like some form of policing, some organization that you would understand to be like doing the job that theoretically the police are supposed to be doing. Hold on one second. No, police probably would end up with even more Jordan Neelys. Anyway, my point is, this is the most awful way of like explaining the situation because you seem like you are retroactively defending what Richard Hanania said, which was racist as fuck. That's not what policing is, dog. He's not talking about like, not a single part of this is talking about like solving crimes in more marginalized communities. He's literally saying over police and occupy black neighborhoods. Like, he's not even hiding it. He's just very openly saying that. So why the fuck would you ever try to like put liberal seasoning on that fascist spice and try to make it more like appropriate? Very weird. Okay? Just because the institution is corrupt doesn't mean we can't fix it, dumb. Wait, first of all, I did not say that. I don't know how we would fix policing as an institution under capitalism, but but it's ridiculous to act like it's an easy solution or something. Okay. Anyway, Boston's remarkable programming, pro result. See Louis' ghetto side for a bracing test of this reality, or note my city where collapse of the arrest for homicide from 70% to a current 13% is the difference between 220 slayings a year and 350, most of whom are young, male, and black. Which brings us to my final critique here. I live in Baltimore and know folks from all points of the local compass, and the only people I hear for arguing that policing is oppression or that any afford to maintain any law and order are never people trying to raise families or reside or work in West Baltimore or East Side or Pimlico or Cherry Hill. They are either academics, commentators, or ideologues who very much live elsewhere. The people I hear from want the shooters to be locked the fuck up. Yeah, no shit. Who says shooters should not be locked up? Not only are you now defending Richard Hanaya's his ridiculous racist screed, even if you don't agree with it, you functionally and fundamentally are defending him. Okay? But you also are like, doing straw mans in defense of like the counter against him. Again, this is no argument for mass arrest or incarceration, for broken windows policing, for drug warring, for harassment, but it is very much an argument for essential police work, which is why abolitionists and defund mooks can't endure it. Oh, blah, 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 blah. You and I have such different bookmarks. It's gay as fuck for a man to say he's craving anything. Okay, but this is like facts, though. It is. What are you craving? Craving some dick? Exactly. That's what I thought. As a man, if you say you're craving anything, it means you're craving dick. True. Is this true? Jerking off is gay. You're a man playing with a penis for fun. Gay. Also true. Yeah. Anyway, we got here because I was watching Drew talk about the writer strike.
Things you learn on set are completely different than what you learn in a room just writing scenes that don't cost anything and you can put them anywhere you want. And then you end up with this continuing cascade of problems, right? Where like people are suddenly given a chance to make their own show as they should, but they don't have the experience on set and they're set up to fail.
So ironically, what's going to happen is there are going to be more and more issues that arise on sets, expensive issues that result in reshoots and delays and extended post-production timelines. And before you know it, all of the money the studio was trying to save by pinching pennies at every corner is just going to burst into flames anyway. I read that even one day of reshoots can cost like $250,000 when you have these writers who are just trying to stay employed for a few extra weeks so they can help out on set where they could have helped prevent the reshoots in the first place. Almost 100% of the time, it would have been cheaper just to pay them. It's so stupid. You've got the real life embodiment of Kendall Roy out here making business first creative decisions that make shows worse and then lose money anyway. So in my opinion, everything the WGA is fighting for is more than fair. Everyone deserves to be paid what they're worth, and there's absolutely no reason in this situation to be rooting for the CEO of Warner Brothers who can't even seem to figure out what they want their app to be called. And yet, even though to me it seems like a no-brainer thing to support, that hasn't stopped some of the dumbest people on the planet, Twitter Blue subscribers, from sowing discourse. Like there's this weird thing where people seem to assume everyone in Hollywood is filthy rich just because the industry they're a part of is. But on average, writers are earning less than they did 10 years ago. Writing jobs don't last nearly as long as they used to because seasons are significantly shorter now, and no one wants to keep the writers around once they feel like their job is done, even though it's not. In the past, residual checks from previous gigs would keep them afloat in between jobs, but without that, a lot of them are having to deliver Postmates and find side hustles just to make ends meet. But then you've got these people who are salivating over the idea of spoiled Hollywood writers finally getting a reality check. Good riddance, Hollywood losers. Or should I say Holly Weird? Who even needs human writers anymore? Just have ChatGPT do it. Everything's just sequels and remakes now anyway. And this sentiment that I've seen...
Nothing gets my fucking blood boiling like a bunch of blue checkmark dumbasses talking about a thing with like insane amounts of confidence, but the thing that they're talking about, they have no idea how it works. It's just Dunning-Kruger blasted on my fucking face every goddamn day. It's like, I want to avoid seeing it. If it honestly feels like rusty nails scraping my fucking retina. Every single time I turn on Twitter, they're literally everywhere. They're like popping up left and right. I'm like, stop! At first, I thought it would be funny because I love looking at stupid shit, okay? Like, I love looking at unhinged screeds, right? You know this. I've talked about how creative the writing is in, like, disability activist Twitter sometimes, where people will just, like, say some incredibly wild ideas that I've never even seen before. I truly think that that's unique, and we should appreciate it, like the Tumblr-style woke screeds. I think that that's where writing is, right? That's where creativity is, as long as you don't, like, take it seriously, which a lot of people do, okay? Anyway, I love that shit. So I thought Twitter was going to be like that with Twitter Blue. No, these guys are just fucking stupid, dog. They're just like insanely fucking stupid and think they're so smart. Yeah, see? Chad is doing it already. Walkable cities are fatphobic. Incredible. Give me that take. I want to fucking inject that directly into my fucking veins. You know what I mean? That's the type of shit I love, okay? The problem with it is that Twitter weirdo game is pay to win now. It's not for the love of the game. Yeah, exactly. It sucks. Now it's like, I was wondering who the fuck loves Elon Musk still and adore it, okay? I was always wondering who the fuck are his like insane fan base. And now I get to see it every day in my replies. Because all the blue check marks that paid $8 to like let everybody know how fucking stupid they are seemingly can't shut the fuck up.
Shared by hundreds of people online is so infuriatingly stupid. Number one, if you're in support of a company replacing thousands of jobs with one single AI program, you are anti-worker. You are only supporting the billionaires in pursuit of screwing over everyone possible in order to maximize
dialectics, baby.
Their wealth. Now I understand that you don't give a shit because you don't see any value in creative jobs and think that everyone who complains about it should just go into a real line of work. If you didn't want to get replaced by AI, then learn to code. Disregarding how joyless of an outlook this is to have on life, one where no one gets to make art or do anything they're passionate about and we should all just be typing code all day while computers get to do all the fun stuff, what makes you think only writing jobs will be replaced by AI? They're not going to stop at the job.
Twitter isn't a human right, though. It's kind of shitty of Elon, but the main issue is with Turkey. See, this is the other reason why I'm not, like, reeling too much from the impact of Twitter. Because all the weirdos that, like, completely misunderstand what I'm saying or bring up a point that is completely unrelated to whatever the fuck I just said, that want to come across as, like, super smarmy, can come and find me directly and deliver me the blue checkmark replies on my Twitch stream. Like, I never said Twitter is a human right. You know, you just like brought that in yourself. I don't know why you brought that in. I think you just wanted to talk about like the Elon Turkey thing. So that's why you like thought this would be a good segue. Meanwhile, the best segues come at the top of the hour when there's a 3-minute ad break. And if you no longer want to see those ads, well, then all you need to do is subscribe, which you can do for $5 or for free with the Twitch Prime by connecting your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account where you get one free Prime subscription a month. Use it on your favorite broadcaster. You know,
that you don't care about, they're going
Speed
to
Razor,
replace
thank you for the 10
all of
gifted
the
subs.
jobs.
Allowing
I think we
10
should
people
be
to no
in
longer see
support
the
of
ads.
any
Mr.
workers
Members.
who are fighting to prevent this from happening, but you seem to be so distracted by this one tree that you've yet to notice the forest you're standing in. Number two, the idea that everything is just a remake or a sequel now anyway, so it's not like these writers are even coming up with original ideas. Yeah, there's a lot of rehashed IPs in Hollywood. Guess what? You don't have to watch those. Do you know how much shit has come out in just like the past few years alone? It's been unlike anything I've ever seen before. These 10 out of 10 shows and movies that have unique plots and original characters and up and coming actors that aren't just Chris Pratt doing a voice and give me emotions that I can't even describe, but I guess you were too busy complaining about how woke the new Little Mermaid is to notice any of them. That's your own fault. Look, I get annoyed at how many sequels and reboots and superhero movies there are now too, but you know why they keep making them? Because they make a shit ton of money every time. And you know why they make a shit ton of money every time? Because you keep going to see them. Go watch something else, dude. But if you want more originality in Hollywood, you know what's not going to solve that problem? Fucking ChatGPT. AI does not create original ideas because it can't. It doesn't have unique life experience or a sense of humor that it can draw upon. It is a glorified search engine that just plagiarizes a bunch of elements of already existing human creations and regurgitates it onto a Word document. Can you believe this entire trailer is AI generated? Yeah.
Dude, I'm sorry. Like, no matter how smart I think you are, if I catch you fucking looking at ChatGPT for advice and it's not just like purely for the sake of content, I'm going to think less of you. Okay? Like, people do that for content. Okay? People do that for content. People do that for content. And that's fine. I have done it for content back in the day. And I will probably still do it for content. It's like having a little friend for your search engine, right? But like, if I catch you fucking being like, here's a life decision, ChatGPT, what should I do? Or like, I don't know, fucking things that you could come up with on your own that you think ChatGPT will do a good job. When the motherfucker lies all the time to fill in the gaps. Okay? You're a fool. That's it.
Yeah, I can actually, because this shot is identical to one that already exists. Also, it looks like crap. And on the topic of AI, which is only a small part of the strike, but it's what a lot of these dumbasses are pointing to try to devalue writers and people who create art. To me, it's almost not even a matter of...
Ethan was doing it ironically, but now it's become a real... What? What is Ethan doing?
If
I'm away for one fucking week, what is he doing? He's asking... He's asking ChatGPT, what the fuck?
An entire show could be written by ChatGPT. It's that even if it can, I don't give a shit. I have negative interest in watching like an algorithmically generated show written by software. Using math, we've perfectly optimized this script for human enjoyment. Like, that's what we're gonna do now? No thanks. I like watching TV and movies because they're a celebration of human creativity. I want to see people tell stories about their lives or turn hard times into art because it's incredible that it's even possible to do that. And when you see something that resonates with you and speaks to a part of you that you've never quite been able to put into words and makes you feel emotions like that, that's that good shit. And then you get done watching it, you can look up behind the scenes videos and interviews with the director and the writers and figure out like how they filmed this crazy shot or how they came up with the idea for the ending. Like, I just think it's one of the most beautiful things that we as a human race have created. And I can't even relate to the mindset of someone who's like, yeah, but my computer could do all that. Like, I have nothing in common with that person. And to the people who treat every writer like they're the scum of the earth because they didn't personally enjoy one show, I don't think you realize that a lot of the changes that have been taking place throughout the streaming era, you know, the things the union is striking against, are contributing factors as to why you might not like a show as much as you used to. If there are fewer writers in the room, then the writers they have get stretched thin. If writers aren't paid to be on set while they're filming, then the shows are going to suffer. But most importantly, if someone can't afford to pay rent from doing their job and they have to waste all their time and energy on side hustles just so they can barely afford to eat, they're not gonna do as good at the job. And that goes with any industry. Obviously, if you take care of your employees and give them all the conditions they need to succeed, the work will be better. And then when the work is better, more people talk about it and it makes more money and then everyone wins. It's so simple.
Whenever people fucking say, whenever people are like, oh, dude, these TV shows suck, it's like, it's not the writer's fault, dumbass, either. Like, it's just not. They didn't write the show for their own pleasure. It's not like you think The Big Bang Theory is like a pleasure project, or Young Sheldon was like someone's literal like life's work. Like, you think someone was like, oh, dude, Young Sheldon, like I always wanted to write that. Like, no, man, it's just not. Pleasure project? I meant passion project. Yeah, you think Bazinga came out of someone's passion? No, man. Network TV was like, we need something. Fill it.
Why are we against this? Just so one guy can have a third helicopter? That's the side you're on? He's not gonna let you ride it. He doesn't know you. It blows my mind that because of a handful of crap.
Look, this guy said, I want to drop kick Young Sheldon. And this guy said, I was Young Sheldon. And I think this guy is closer to that, to the reality of chat than the other guy. Don't shit on Young Sheldon if you're a Twitch watcher, okay? Very likely you were the Bazinga kid.
Happy remakes you've seen. You think every single writer in Hollywood is some millionaire hack looking down on you from their golden throne of infinite money. No, that's the people they're striking against. At the rate things are going, writing will not be a viable career path much longer. The only people who are going to be able to afford to do it are 22-year-olds with rich parents. And I don't want to watch those shows. I hate 22-year-olds with rich parents. So if you want TV to get better, you should be on the side of the people who are best equipped to make that happen. The last thing I'll say is that if you watch this video and you thought, well, I sympathize with the writers here, but this kind of thing is happening in every industry. The economy's in shambles, everything's more expensive now, and wages aren't going up to offset that. I agree. All of that is bad. I'm only focusing on this specifically because it's something that's happened before, that I was interested then, I'm interested in now, and it's actively going on as we speak. I hope the writers win this, get everything they demand, and then it inspires other people to do exactly the same thing. Imagine if every public school teacher in the country went on strike at exactly the same time. Society would crumble in like an hour. Their demands would be met instantly. It's a perfect crime. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. I'm going to put a bunch of links to Twitter threads and news articles and podcasts and things that helped me write the video. One thing in particular, there's like a 7-page document written by a showrunner named Eliza Clark about how to be a writer on set, coming from someone who has years of experience being a writer on set. And I thought this was fascinating, like a really insightful look you don't normally see into everything that goes on behind the scenes. How many decisions need to get made, how many people are involved in making those decisions. I don't know, really interesting stuff. Anyway, I didn't post a video last month because I was gone and I got a mortgage to pay. So please enjoy a word from today's sponsor. Hey, don't click off the video.
Hey, so I've got a secret, and it's about my wife. At around the same time, every night, she turns to me and she says, Drew, I'm hungry. And I'm like, again? We just had dinner yesterday. It's like this never-ending thing with her. We'll eat a meal together, everything will be fine, and then the next day, it's like, what, yesterday didn't even happen? Did you forget? For years, I was struggling to keep up with her insatiable appetite. I mean, where I come from, we have one big meal a year, and then we sleep through the winter. I was about to lose my mind. Until I heard of today's sponsor, HelloFresh. To put it as simple as possible, HelloFresh is ingredients in bags in a box that gets shipped to your house and then you cook it into food. I don't have to waste any more time going to the grocery store figuring out what I'm gonna feed my hungry wife. Did you find everything okay, sir? They always ask, seemingly unaware I have.
Set up stuff in the behind the PC. Okay. Apologies. I did. I heard him call for every teacher across the planet or in the United States of America to do a strike. Man, this Wrangler guy was fucking fire. Actually. Why are you out of breath? I'm like, I was returning some videotapes. I kind of want to watch this UK Scariest Debt Collector too. Like some of these old Vice videos are pretty fire. Oh, this is what I wanted to show you guys. Going back to the Vice thing. But David Carr confronts Vice. I didn't want to show you that, but there is literally a scene where they supposedly are, I think it's like, he's such a fucking clown ass, dude. Yeah, dude, the New York Times is not writing about Liberia. Like, are you that fucking stupid? I'm sorry. There's good criticism of the New York Times, which is that they are, again, a carve out of the State Department and regularly will do America's bidding as far as imperialism goes. But the notion that the fucking New York motherfucking Times is not writing about Liberia or doesn't have actual fucking people on the ground in Liberia, or at least like correspondents, is so stupid, dude. What are you fucking so dense? This guy made like hundreds of millions of dollars, dude, from fucking selling his dumbass product that looked cool to a bunch of even stupider media executives. I mean, he's right. I mean, he's a dickhead, but he's right. Like, he's not wrong. It's like, as much as I shit on the New York Times, as much as I shit on mainstream media, okay? Like, it's so ridiculous to act like they're not there. Okay? Come on now.
Continue.
I'm just saying that I'm not a journalist. I'm not there to report.
Yeah, he big broed him so fucking hard
Obviously. Go ahead.
Sorry. I'm just talking about, look what I saw there.
You are all fucking losers, by the way, this guy says. You, on the other hand, Charlie isn't fruity. You're a fucking winner, dog. A lot of the early shrines are hard to know how to apply devices. Don't feel bad about looking it up. I keep having to look things up to see what I'm missing, and then I back out and stop reading. Yeah, no, I'm not looking shit up. What the fuck?
This
Is
video
everything fascist by Wisecrack? Uh-oh. All Vice did was sensationalize conflict. They never contributed to good journalism. No, there was decent journalism happening at Vice too, just like every other fucking outlet, every now and then. But yes, of course they sensationalize conflict, which, dude, to be honest, so do I. Okay, I do that too.
Vice Media is an American-Canadian-based media company founded in October of 1994 in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, by its founders Sarouche Alvey, Shane Smith, and Gavin McGinnis. It started with a subsidy from a government-funded welfare program. The magazine went from a Montreal-based print magazine to a global multi-billion-dollar organization. You may have seen some of their viral videos online through one of their many YouTube channels throughout the years, or you may remember the old days when they were just a print magazine you would find at local skate shops. The company at its peak was valued at $5.7 billion, drawing investments from the likes of Disney and Rupert Murdoch. But over the past years, Vice has become a shell of itself, and in 2019, Disney made a public statement saying that they may never get a return on their investment in the company. So how did we witness one of the biggest media companies in the world collapse so quickly right in front of us? It all started when Alvey began working for a government welfare program. At that time, Alvey was coming off a serious heroin addiction and was still in the process of rehab. While working there, he'd be put in charge of publishing the program's multicultural magazine. The mag was originally titled and written in French, and it was Alvey who decided to change the language and its name, rebranding it as Voice of Montreal.
The story of how Vice started is fairly well known. It basically began as a free newspaper called Voice of Montreal. If you could take us back to the very beginning, what was the level of your ambitions for Vice when you first started out?
Going back 20 years, it's actually my 20-year anniversary from the time that I started work on the very first issue. We call ourselves a 20-year-old startup. I didn't know. I had no experience in publishing or in media, and I thought either it was going to be a single issue that I published, that I'd be able to walk around and say, hey, I did this, or maybe this thing could be huge one day. But
this was considered a bad idea at the time, as there were already 2 other known English publications in a shrinking market. It started off as a basic 16-page print magazine released once a month, and the project was funded through a government subsidy. The idea was to cover music, art, trends, and drug culture not typically covered in print. Before the first copy was published, Alvey needed to hire an editor. The first person he asked was a cartoonist he knew named Gavin McGinnis. McGinnis initially declined the offer, thinking it was a silly idea.
I'm like a little worried that they're going to show some shit here that's like TOS, you know what I mean? But yeah, I didn't know Gavin McGinnis was a cartoonist, by the way. Fucking, dude, cartoonists have been a fucking major burden on American civilization, except for the ones that I like and I'm friends with. But all the other ones are bad, okay?
Then eventually accepted. He was now the full-time editor and handled about 80% of the magazine's columns, doing the artwork while also writing under various pseudonyms. He sort of became the voice of the magazine, setting the tone with his punk rock, inappropriate, and politically incorrect writing style. After about a year of production, McGinnis recommended that they hire his childhood best friend Shane Smith as their head of business.
That immediately. Red flags. You know what I mean? Like, ding, 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 ding. Red flags. Okay? Yeah, you did that. That guy made... How much money did Shane Smith make off of Vice? How much money did Shane Smith make from Vice? In 2015, Canadian business placed him on Canada's richest people, claiming his net worth to be $1.27 billion.
He knew that Shane had always been a good salesman growing up, so he figured he'd be a perfect fit for what they needed. Three of them combined for a perfect match. Fast forward, Voice started gaining a good amount of traction, so naturally the group wanted to expand, but the magazine's publisher wouldn't grant them the resources they needed. They were in the process of giving an ultimatum, but they decided to buy out the publisher altogether and go independent. After the split, they changed the magazine's name from Voice to Vice in 1996, and they were off and running. The magazine grew quickly in popularity with an edgy and snarky reporting style displayed in their columns. The magazine would serve as an alternative to the already existing Montreal Mirror, which was perceived as more mainstream. During that time, Montreal also had a budding subculture brewing in the city with bands like Arcade Fire, Brand Van 3000, and Godspeed You, Black Emperor, all emerging during this period. They were already shipping the magazine to major cities such as London, Tokyo, and New York by giving copies to streetwear companies and record labels. They were able to do this by using the barter system, where they would give out magazines in exchange for clothes and distribution. They would soon become the biggest magazine in Montreal. This was a major milestone for the group, but they knew they've reached their limit in Canada and knew that in order to scale, they had to make a move to the States. Vice aimed at getting the attention of Canadian investor Richard Selinsky. Selinsky was known as the richest guy in Montreal and was a larger-than-life character within the community. To get his attention, Smith came up with an idea. In 1998, Smith told a reporter that a media mogul named Richard Selinsky had invested in Vice, although they had never actually.
Dude, it's always, dude. It's always fucking con men, dude. God, capitalism rewards con men to ridiculous degrees. It's always a con. It's always like a lie that turns into like sound business decision.
We met him in person. It was a major gamble, but it worked. Selinsky got wind of the statement in the newspaper, and he was so intrigued by the tactic that he decided to meet with them. He would go on to invest $4 million, and with that, the group was headed to New York City. In 1999, Vice would settle into an office in Midtown Manhattan. Around this time, the dot-com bubble was happening, so Vice started.
That's how you know they were fucking stupid, by the way. Like, you get a $4 million, you get a $4 million influx of cash, or what is it influx? What the fuck is the word? I'm forgetting. My brain is not working. I'm sorry. I'm so jet lagged. You get a cash infusion, okay? Influx is right. You get this investment, and you immediately get a fucking Midtown property. Are you joking? You're a fucking magazine, dog. Why the fuck do you have to get a Midtown property? I know it's like still 1997 or whatever, but still, you said dumb as fuck. I used the right word, you fucking idiot. Oh, you're talking about the Midtown decision. Yeah. It is, though. It is dumb as fuck. You're right, chatter. Like, that is so fucking stupid, dude. That's where all the best writers are? Yeah, okay.
Its transition to an e-commerce platform as online selling appeared to be the future. Things seemed to be going okay, but Smith and Albee were concerned about how much they were spending. They figured they'd be okay since Selinsky had taken media companies like this public in the past. But it wasn't long before things started to go south. Vice would burn through the investment fast, and they found themselves
I wonder how.
in a lot of debt. They eventually had to buy Vice back altogether as the debt became too steep. After this setback, the company had to start from square one all over again. They decided to move the operation to a warehouse in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, primarily because it was cheaper as opposed to Manhattan. It worked out perfectly because as they moved in, a lot of artists, musicians, and filmmakers started coming out to the area. Brooklyn became a hotbed for creatives, and it fit perfectly with Vice's brand. Strapped for cash, they would go to publishers and offer them a percentage of ownership in exchange for resources. They started throwing parties and supplying booze on the street in exchange for work. As time went by, they would eventually
they would just like give drugs to interns and shit.
Buy out these publishers as they became profitable again. Vice would become the new voice of youth subculture globally as the internet was on the rise, and kids across the world were now developing the same taste in fashion and music. They got big enough to compete with the likes of Rolling Stone and Spin magazine. But rather than go full mainstream in the States and risk getting watered down, they decided to expand laterally to still cater to their core audience. In 2007, Vice would become one of the first digital media outlets to get into online video with VBS.TV, a joint venture with MTV. They decided to move towards monetizing online content as opposed to print. They had developed a huge fan base with shows like The Vice Guide to Travel DVD and Epically Later. The shows consisted of odd subjects while their young, inexperienced employees would host the show. Smith and Albee took part in hosting a lot of the shows as well. This was the peak of Vice's online presence as their style of reporting was so different than traditional media of the day. It was filmmaker Spike Jonze that developed their signature guerrilla style filming. where they would go with a camera reporting in dangerous environments. The first hit piece launched with VBS was the documentary Heavy Metal in Baghdad, directed by Albee himself. The documentary would go on and win the Critics' Choice Award in Toronto and won Best Documentary at the Berlin Film Festival. That same year, Vice continued to aggressively expand its digital footprint by launching new channels for different niches such as Noisy for music, Motherboard for tech, Munchies for food, and Vice Sports, to name a few. Vice's growth continued, and they were being evaluated in the billions, with their numbers outdoing the major news networks like CNN and Fox. Investors took notice and wanted...
But they weren't. Let's be real. They were not. The idea that like anyone is out competing mainstream media like that is stupid. It's just like, remember, we fucking looked at my numbers in comparison to like Tucker Carlson, and it's just like, it's nothing. You know what I mean? It's a blip.
It started in 2013 when media mogul Rupert Murdoch invested $70 million for a 5% stake in the company. In the following year, A&E, a subsidiary of Disney, invested $250 million for a 10% stake themselves, and then another $400 million the year after. In order to maximize revenue to appease their investors, they needed more advertisers. To get more advertisers meant that they had to water down their content because a lot of them don't want to be associated with edgy material. Vice was now trying to clean up their image, but it was a steering away from what they were always known for.
Yeah, no, Disney made a lot of fucking stupid decisions. It's not just because they watered down their content. That's super reductive. It's because they were never worth that much. Can we just openly fucking say that? They were never worth that much. I'm sorry. Okay? Steven Crowder is like not worth $50 million. Okay? Vice is not worth that much money. And they never were. They were insanely overvalued. The greatest fucking trick that a lot of people utilize under a capitalist organization of the economy is just like overvaluing themselves. And if it sticks, it sticks. Okay? You're wrong. Marvel is worth billions. No, there is. Okay. That is a legacy institution. There is truth to looking at a Hollywood studio and saying, yeah, they are worth billions of dollars because they actually make billions of dollars. Vice is not that. Marvel makes billions of fucking dollars, dude. What do you mean? Every movie that they make makes $1 billion. Of course, that's entirely different. I'm talking about the difference between someone valuing Tesla at the price point that they do versus Volkswagen, that is a much more successful, much larger car manufacturer. Why is Tesla valued at like 10x of Volkswagen, even though Volkswagen has 100 times more fucking cars? Well, because it's a tech company and because they lie all the fucking time. Okay? That's it. It's speculation, and that is the trick. That is where that's where you usually fall short of what like the valuation is. It's hilarious because it's also like, what were they supposed to do? If someone tells you you're worth $400 million, you're gonna start believing it, even if you're not. No, I think Shane Smith was always a salesman. So he knew that it wasn't worth that. And he probably was literally constantly going, this is so incredible that these fucking idiots thought that it's worth this much. And I'm going to make it like a bandit. He exited.
They missed their revenue goal by $100 million. By 2019, Disney was saying publicly that the company they put more than $400 million into is now considered worthless. Now, how can a company that was evaluated at $5.7 billion lose value so quickly? Well, some would say it was because Shane Smith was that good of a salesman. For the entirety of Vice's existence, Smith had been overinflating the company's worth.
That is true. Yes, that is exactly what it is. This video finally arrives at the correct conclusion at the end, which is that Shane Smith is a very good con man. Anyone who was in the fucking digital sphere at the same time the Vice was popping, saw that. Same with like Upworthy and shit, dog. Remember Upworthy? Does anyone remember Upworthy? Do you know what Upworthy is? They dramatically changed the way content is consumed. Now this is a news site, still to this day, that is in operation, right? They stole the Upworthy method of making content. Upworthy popped off on Facebook, and everybody thought like, oh my God, this is a game changer. Yeah, it's nothing now. It's nothing. You remember Updog? What's up, dog? What's up, dog? Fucking got me, dude. I lived through that motherfucking digital media bubble. Okay? I lived through that digital media bubble and I survived, bitch. That's all I got to say. I have a lot of friends that worked at these places. They didn't deserve to lose their fucking jobs. They're wonderful people, whether it be BuzzFeed, whether it be Vice, or all these other places. Okay? But all I'm going to say is I was in that. I was in the thick of it when these guys were getting millions and billions of fucking dollars. And I was thinking, these guys are so fucking stupid. I will never forget. I'll tell you guys a fun story. I was hired to film the red carpet, I was one of the first like direct to video live streamers many years ago that was hired to when phone cameras and Facebook Live was a thing. Okay? I was hired by Participant Media. You guys know what that is? Participant Media. They made like Lincoln and all these other projects. Anyway, Participant Media is a film production company. They made Inconvenient Truth, Spotlight, all the stuff, right? Participant Media also had a TV channel. What the fuck was it called? I can't even remember what the fuck it was called. Hold on. Not the Lincoln Project. The movie Lincoln. What was their fucking TV? Was it Current? No, it wasn't Current. It was something else. They did take a bunch of people from Current, though. Tab on the left. Well, the Point? Pivot? Something like that. Anyway, I clicked on the television tab on the left. It didn't show it. Anyway, regardless, it doesn't matter. Was it Pivot TV or something? I don't fucking remember what it was. Anyway, they hired me at the time to do... Oh, it was Pivot TV. Okay, thank you. I know a lot of people, including like Jacob Soboroff and shit, that worked there. A lot of people that worked at the Young Turks and Al Jazeera. Young Turks, Current TV, and then Al Jazeera, then ended up working at Participant Media's Pivot TV. All of this stuff was slated to fucking be destroyed. Why? Okay? I'm at the Young Turks. I'm trying to make money wherever I fucking can. Pivot comes to me, Participant Media comes to me and says, Hassan, you're in charge of this Facebook stuff. You know how to do Facebook Live. Okay, you do Facebook Live sometimes, don't you? I was like, sure. Of course. Didn't know a single goddamn thing. They were like, sure, we'll give you money. Okay? We'll give you money to film the entire red carpet of the Peabody Awards. Do you know what Peabody is? Okay? The Peabody Awards is an award for, people that... It's for nerds. It's a nerd award show, okay? So, given for entertainment, documentary, news, podcasts, and radio, children's, youth, and public service programming. The George Foster Peabody Awards program. So, they hired me to do the red carpet. At the time, I built this rig, basically, where the rig ultimately had a phone attached to it where I would live stream the red carpets, and I was the red carpet, and I was interviewing people, live streaming it, whatever. Okay, direct to Facebook. Anyway, I knew immediately that this company was going to go underwater because at the time I thought they were paying me a lot. Now I realize they weren't, but I think they paid me like 10 grand or something to film this. red carpet, start to finish. And I thought, oh my God, this is an unimaginable amount of money I just made. Okay, which is kind of funny to think about now. And then I you know, when I went over to their studios, when I went over to the Beverly Hills headquarters, I realized, holy fuck, they are spending so much money on a dumbass like me. Number one, they didn't even do their due diligence. They just hired me because they think like I do Facebook Live. Okay. They gave me 10 grand, which I thought was a lot of money at the time, but now I realize like it probably wasn't that much. Was this you on the red carpet?
Why does good storytelling matter?
No, this isn't me on the red carpet filming.
Dead by the great Peabody gods right now.
For us. I think I did it for maybe participant media.
Why does good storytelling?
I didn't do this. This wasn't me. This is direct. This is like a professional camera. I was wondering, I wonder if you could like see me in the background or something. But anyway, 10 G's would change my life, bro. Lol, it's a lot. Motherfucker, at the time, I thought it was life-changing money too, but now I know how much money like you can charge for things like that. And I think 10 G's is like, I mean, actually still pretty good. My Survivor homies do a ton of that red carpet shit and they ain't getting paid near 10 G's. Yeah, maybe I conned them a little bit. Anyway, my point is this, okay? My point is this. No, I was in charge of their entire operations for live streaming, though. That's like a little bit different than just like going there and filming. And at the time, it was a lot of fucking money, okay, for the record. Did you have a big following? No, man. This was background shit. I wasn't actually... Guys, I wasn't a person, okay? I wasn't anything. I was literally a camera guy who knew how to go live on Facebook. What are you talking about? Anyway, this is like literally, I mean, this is more than, I think it was like around this time, I think. Maybe even a little bit earlier than this. But the point is, Azan could have probably asked for 20K or something because of how dumb they spend their money. Yes. So that's my point. My point was like, I charged them that. They put me in a fucking nice ass hotel. They paid for my fucking ticket. Obviously, they didn't actually. Wait, what is this? Anna took your job? No, this is. Wait, what the fuck? Wait, hold on. Is this, did I?
Humanitarians and influencers in diversity.
No, this is me. I filmed this. You found it. I'm pretty sure this is me. It's with me and Anna. We went together.
Some of the major issues in the news this year, these are issues that, of course, we talk about on the Young Turks that have been addressed on Pivot, and you know that it's going to be a great conversation.
You see that? That's the gimbal working, baby. Shit's crispy.
Now, one thing to keep in mind about the awards this year is it's a very diverse event. Now, there was a lot of brouhaha about the Academy Awards and the lack of diversity.
You need a gimbal, shaky ass? I had a gimbal, bitch. What the fuck?
There. But the great thing about the awards that we're going to experience today is there are a number of people from many different backgrounds being honored for the...
Wait, did I go with Anna? No, maybe I didn't go with Anna. Maybe this was the next year. Maybe this wasn't... it might not have been me. Did I go with Anna? I can't remember. Maybe, was it not me?
Muslim bigotry, and then when we turned it into...
Fuck. It might have been, I might have done it the year before or something.
28 would be huge, which is still a sad state of affairs, but
any increase
reach some people.
That's
Anyway, my fucking point was this, okay? My point is this. They put me up in a fucking nice hotel. They paid for my flight, and they gave me like an insane amount of money. And I think I got the gig through Anna, okay? And my point is this, okay? At that point, I was like, these guys are so fucking stupid. They're giving me so much fucking money. They're spending so much goddamn money on this dumbass thing to like fucking live stream their red carpet. There ain't no way that they will survive. Okay? I was like, there ain't no fucking way this company's going to survive. A year later or a couple of years later, they were gone. They went under. Okay? That's my point. These guys wasted so much money. These guys, like Pivot especially, tried to like basically market themselves as like a millennial for like a younger generation. Cable TV for a younger generation. Okay? And honestly, it was so dumb, and I fucking made out like that one time, and I realized, like, yeah, these guys are so bad. These guys are so fucking bad. I wonder if we can find their fucking live. They got their latest videos, Peabody Conversations. Maybe they deleted me fucking doing the... What year was this? I don't remember. Brother, I've done so much shit in my lifetime. I don't remember. I'm old, man. God, these guys spend money. These guys spend money like they, like there's no tomorrow. You aren't old, Law. Dude, I'm fucking about to be 32. Watch your old Vice vid.
The Running Man Challenge. Damn Daniel. We've all seen internet fads explode overnight. But what happens to the creators of said fads once their 15 minutes of fame are over?
Damn, this guy's good.